All right. Okay, so Tyler is getting some things sorted here. I figured I'd go ahead and start recording because why not? So we're here at Tyler's place, and we're going to be doing some play testing for 1 or 2 games, depending on how fast the setup for these go. Maybe just one. One Box Wargame from Malev Minis, and the one that we have picked. Ooh, that's a good point. This one is called just a little great game, using some Afghan warriors, which we're going to use something else because we didn't have that box. Looked kind of cool. It's a skirmish game, fast-paced, casual fighting game. You know, the idea is playing during downtime at the office or waiting for someone at a Warhammer table to finish arguing about the rules. That was what I liked. Designed to use as few resources as possible outside of what's in the box.
Gotcha.
So basically, you need, like 12 dudes, some ranged weapons, some melee weapons, some playing cards, just the face cards for faction cards, 4 aces, 2 jokers, and then the 2 through 10 of diamonds.
And I need to get a different sticker deck of cards. All right, be right back.
Oh, here we go. Oh, okay, no, so you actually do use the whole deck of cards. So this is kind of cool. It uses, let me make sure I'm getting a shot here. Is this cutting off the top of my head?
Yeah, 100%.
This is going to be the best edited video ever. Okay, so you use a deck of cards for boons and the jokers for objective markers. You use the diamonds for weather, some coins for status. We need 10 of those. We need some penalty tokens, so pennies or some sort of other color coin, and then you just use some spades with it's a paper clips or alligator clips to be able to stand up a card with, or something else that
Video games, what?
right, or something else we can use as cover markers that is like a standee of some sort.
Something. Oh, I'm going to check my deck of many wonders.
Yes. Okay. And then I like how he measures the lengths in this game. Like immediate length, like right in front of you, just as 1 model height. Immediate range, like being able to do like melee range or whatever. Or no, immediate range, so like right in front of you is half of a playing card.
Okay.
And then short range is from the tip of your index finger to your knuckle. Interesting. That's melee range. Full length is from the tip of your index finger to your wrist.
Okay.
Used for movement and some range weapons. And then long range is from the tip of your index finger to your elbow.
So you're screwed. My hands are super big.
Yeah.
It's over, dude.
It's like, whose index finger, whose elbow? I'm going to get the idea for simplicity, but everybody's
I have these.
arms are a little different. And then extreme range is past the elbow to the end of the board. Okay, so just like your index finger to however long. Okay, used for measuring long range. Okay, interesting. He's still kind of working on things. You're gonna cover, okay, setup. So you separate your cards into suits.
Okay.
Take out the jokers, set those aside for objectives. Take out the face cards and set aside for factions. Separate the aces and set them aside for boons, which is used in a different for tournaments and caravan modes. The remaining diamond suit cards for weather. And then normally we would attach some stands or something to the remaining spade suit cards to be used for cover. 4 should be horizontal, 5 should be vertical. Oh, okay. And then you subdivide the remaining cards, the hearts deck, into 2 piles. One will contain 3, 4, 6, and 7 for melee, and the other will contain 5, 8, 9, 10, and 2 for ranged. Wow, this is getting real complicated real quick.
These games, man.
Interesting. Okay, so he's got some stuff here.
Okay. Well, it's. Yeah, I guess. You keep going, man. I'm gonna shuffle.
Yeah. Go ahead and do that. I'm just gonna kind of read out the rules here. Okay, so then terrain and scenarios. Every player gets at least one turn to adjust the battlefield by moving objects around. Players should determine ahead of time how many turns you get. If there are scenario-specific pieces, they should be placed. Then orientation. Players should pick a point to be east. Ideally, east should be a location that makes the border longer.
East.
Okay. Pick faction cards and weather cards. If playing with factions and weather effects, every player should pick one faction and then one weather card. If not, this step is skipped. Let's skip that because this is enough already.
Well, it's funny that he wanted to create a game that could be played while people are arguing about the rules. So you'd think it'd be really like snappy.
Yeah, I think it might be snappy eventually, but it is not yet.
So you have to really know the rules before it's snappy.
Yeah. Okay, troop selection. Players will then take turns selecting their 5 troops from the pool, 1 troop at a time. Okay, so you get 5 guys.
Okay.
And then you take turns placing. Now he says 3 troops clockwise around the map, but then maybe then that means 5? Because he says players will take turns placing their 3 troops clockwise around the map. Troops may be placed anywhere along the edges of the map within 1 hand width of the borders.
Okay. Does it say how big the map's supposed to be?
No.
Okay.
Just whatever table you've got.
We got this one. Perfect.
Yeah. And then I think the idea was to have like vertical terrain pieces that you can like move up and down.
That I have.
Because one of the things that he said was like, basically you could play this on some sort of cluttered desk.
Okay.
Okay, movement is placed on the location maybe that means based on the location that is east. Troops move and attack based on the location on the map. Move order is clockwise, attack order is counterclockwise. Huh, okay. So you basically like, I move, you attack, I attack.
Okay.
So it's not like an I go, you go thing, which is good. Okay, and then the round you attack first and then move? Interesting. Okay. So attack phase, the round cycle starts with the attack phase first. Models furthest southwest, attack first. Continue to resolve attacks, removing models from the board as necessary. Then the movement phase, models furthest northeast move first, and then proceeds counterclockwise once all players move the attack phase. Oh. Okay, so no, you do move first, even though it's listed second. Welcome to playtesting, folks, where the rules are made up and the
points don't matter.
The points don't matter. Oh man. Okay. So you move first. Then it's not by player, it's by model and where they are in relative
to the northwest?
To the east.
Okay.
That's interesting. So the northeast models move first, then counterclockwise. Then you attack, going the opposite direction. Whew. Okay, then counterattack, models southwest, attack first, and continue to resolve attacks. Okay, so I guess you attack and then counterattack. Scuffle phase, if there are any scuffles created, those are resolved. And then the resolution phase, resolving vulnerabilities and advantages, da-da-da. Whee! Okay. Moving. Most terrain that you build can be climbed. You're just assuming that everything's got adequate footholds and your guys are able to climb stuff. Turning is a free move. Make sure they're facing the way you want them to be facing because this impacts line of sight. Flat terrain, characters are able to move 1 finger length on a flat surface or a hand length at the expense of disadvantage or exhaustion for that turn. Uneven terrain, you can ignore terrain lower than the model's knees. They treat that as a flat surface. Slope terrain is treated as uneven. Climbable terrain, we got climbable, we got scalable, we got standing on surfaces. We'll kind of figure that out as we go. Combat, here we go. Oh, okay. I kind of like this. If you've ever played the card game War as a kid, you essentially know how the combat system works. Okay. So hearts decks are for defense, clubs decks are for attackers. When attacking with melee, use the melee deck. When attacking with ranged, use the ranged deck. Defenders play with one deck. Modifiers are added after cards are revealed. Resolution is determined by the difference between the two cards. That's kind of cool.
Easy enough.
I like that. Okay, players select the appropriate cards for their shuffle, draw from their deck, just like War. The person who drew the highest wins. The main difference is the difference between the two cards matters, and there is a table for that. Okay. So we'll get into that when we get into combat, but we'll...
I think I have 5 dudes each.
Great. Okay, ranged engagements. You can attack anything within range of your weapon and line of sight of the model's eyes. Okay, you measure how far attackers draw as many cards as their range requires, and select the second lowest value as their attack value. Okay. If the defender is not considered to be covered, he draws 2 cards from his defense deck and takes the lowest of the 2. If the defender is considered to be covered, he will draw 1 card from the covered deck instead. Okay. I'm not sure why you get penalized, or you draw more cards the longer range you go. I guess the idea is like you are guaranteed to get a lower card the more cards you draw.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
This might be entirely too much to reckon.
We'll find out. Okay, then we got melee engagements. We got... Okay. When multiple models are drawn in the same combat, a scuffle ensues. So if there's... Okay.
It's 2 or 3 guys in a fight.
Yeah, so they break down into chaos. You don't really know who you're going to kill. This is where those pennies and dimes will come in handy. So you can create a scuffle. You can shoot into a scuffle. Interesting. There's a large scuffle if there's like more than 5 troops in there. You can shoot into it for some reason if you want to. Okay. We got some advantage. Wow, this is definitely got to go through this if you're okay. There's advantages to having high ground.
Yes, I think.
Yep. If you stay still, there's an advantage to ranged attacks, and then if you move before a melee attack, you get an advantage there. So that makes sense. Okay. And then there's a status about your troops. So basically, instead of health, you get these statuses. So you start at standard, just normal stuff. Mm-hmm. Advantaged, you can avoid possibly fatal consequences unscathed. Vulnerable is something that's like something that your attention is elsewhere, you're wounded, or in some sort of precarious situation, you get a penalty to all your actions. Disabled, you're unable to fight and can be removed from the board or captured in certain modes. Okay, so disabled is basically considered dead.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and then it's a what you see is what you get kind of equipment thing. The weapons they carry are what they use. So we got swords, we got shields, we've got a Jazael, some sort of
long gun,
musket.
Yes. And
then a Kyber pass loader, the breech loading weapon.
If you ever watched the movie Zulu, it's the same idea as the Martini Henry. Push the bullet in, lock the gun, and fire.
Yeah.
A little faster than a musket.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So. You can also use your guns as clubs if you want.
Of course.
There's plenty of throwing sized rocks lying around. So improvised attacks and counterattacks happen at a penalty. If you want to do that. Alright. So let's do this skirmish mode of the game mode. Basic skirmish mode is deathmatch. each player has 5 troops. Mm-hmm. Played around the board at 3 units at a time.
Okay, so 2 units will never move at the same turn. So
right.
we have 5, only 3 move. Gotcha.
Yeah. Game ends when half the players are eliminated. Player with the most troops wins.
Easy enough.
Okay. And then there's some other modes. Caravan modes, Tournament of Shadows, recruitment mode. Okay, there's a bunch of stuff for factions and